Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Afni Azaro, and my friends are.
Hi guys, my name is Septianingsi.
Hi, my name is Rizky Fauzia Salsabila.
Yeah, we will discuss about pragmatics. Okay, for the first speaker is Septianingsi, and the second speaker is Rizky Fauzia Salsabila, and the last speaker is me. Okay, let's check this out.
What is pragmatics? Pragmatics has been now since 1009 and 2 in philosophy. C.F. Charles Peirce and W. James as a flow or approach to the study of meaning and truth of language unit, words or sentence, which are based on practical reality or social and material form are the term used by Morris, i.e. that connects the language and its users. Is the source of the use of the term pragmatics today. The term pragmatics in broader terms is the rules of language use, namely the choice of language form and determining its meaning in relation to the speaker's intention according to context and circumstance. Thus, pragmatics here also includes why someone can say thanks to peers but not to teachers or parents. Levinson provides several definitions of pragmatics, including 1. Pragmatics is the study of the relationship between language and the context that underlines the explanation of the meaning of language. Here, understanding of language refers to the fact that in order to understand a language expression or utterance, it is also necessary to have knowledge outside the meaning of the word and its grammatical relationship, namely its relationship to the context in which it is used. 2. Pragmatics is a study of the ability of language users to associate sentences with appropriate context for these sentences. This definition fits with both linguistic and sociolinguistic views. And also, this definition emphasizes the importance of conformity between sentences uttered by language users with the context of their speech. The problem of context, according to Delheims, includes 6 dimensions. The 6 is 1. Setting, place and time, such as classroom, mosque, mahad, libraries, and food stalls. 2. Participants, language user, such as doctors and patients, religious teachers and students, sellers and buyers. 3. Content, topics of conversation, such as politics, education, and culture. 4. Purpose, such as asking, answering, praising, explaining, mocking, and ordering. 5. Key, tone, such as humor, anger, irony, sarcasm, and tenderness. And the last, channels, media such as face-to-face, via SMS, by telephone, by letter, email, and by hand. The inclusion of context in understanding and or producing speech is intended to build the principles of cooperation and courtesy in the communication process, so that communication goals can be achieved effectively. Context itself is closely related to culture, which differs from one society to another. What is considered a reasonable topic of conversation by the Arab community, for example, may be considered an absurd topic of conversation by Indonesians, or vice versa. Therefore, the pragmatic understanding given by Levinson above, in the opinion of the author, in principle provides a general framework on how to communicate appropriately and effectively using language as the medium. The fact that the context may vary from society to society is not the focus of Levinson's language. Then, pragmatic studies research. Pragmatics as a science originates from several other sciences which also study language, and the factors relate to the use of the language of the sciences. That is 1. Language philosophy. From studying the philosophy of language, pragmatics, of speech acts, and conversational implicator. 2. Sociolinguistic. From sociolinguistic, pragmatics discuss variation in language, communicative abilities, and language function. 3. Anthropological. From pragmatic anthropology, study language ethics, language context, and nonverbal factors. And the last, 4. Linguistics and discourse analysis. From linguistics and discourse analysis, it is discussed in more depth in the following section.
Of pragmatic study. Deixis. Deixis is a semantic symptom contained in a word or construction which can only be interpreted by its reference by considering the context of the conversation. I say it here now. For example, it doesn't have a fixed reference but varies depending on various things. The reference to my word become clear once it become known who had said the word. The word here has an obvious reference once it's known where it is pronounced. Likewise, the word now, then, when it's known when it was pronounced. These the word both are deistic words. This is different with words such as tables, chairs, cars, and computers. Whoever says wherever, whenever, these words have a clear and constant reference. Imagine when a student find our writing on a microbus measuring GL or LG, which says pay today, tomorrow is free. Likewise, in a food stall around the student boarding house, you can find a sticker that says pay today, pay tomorrow. The above expressions have meaning only when spoken by the microbus driver in front of the passengers, or by the owner of the food stall in front of his dinners. Daisies can be divided into 5 categories, namely Daisy's person or persona, time or time, where or place, discourse or discourse, and social or social. Category of Dexis. First, person Dexis. The person's Dexis refers to the use of a person pronoun, such as I, first person pronoun, you, second person pronoun. Example, may I come to your house? The reference to me and you can be understood only if each noun who said the sentence and to whom it was addressed. And next, time dexis. Time dexis refers to the use of time adverbs such as yesterday, today, and tomorrow. For example, isn't tomorrow a day off? The word tomorrow has a clear reference only if it's known when the sentence was pronounced. Next, place dexis. Place dexis refers to the use of place adverbs such as here, there, and in front of. Example, sit here. The word here has clear reference only if it's known where it was pronounced. Next, discourse dexis. Discourse dexis is related to the use of an expression in an utterance to refer to the part of the utterance that contain the expression, including the expression itself, such as the following in the last section and this. For example, the word that in a sentence that was the funniest story ever heard. Discourse makers that connect one sentence to another, like anyway, by the way, and besides that. It's also included in discourse lexis. Next, social lexis. Social lexis deals with aspects of speech that reflect certain social realities at the time the utterance are produced. The use of the word sir in the sentence, Sir, can you give a lecture today? What a student say to his lecturer reflects a social lexis. In the example above, it can be seen the social level of the speaker and the interlocutor. The interlocutor has a higher social level than the speaker. Presuppositions. Presuppositions are what speakers use as a common ground for conversation participants or what a speaker or writer assume that the receiver of the message already knows. These assumptions are determined based on the speaker's assumptions about what the interlocutor is likely to accept without challenge. As an illustration, consider the conversation below. A. What about inviting John tonight? B. What a good idea. Then he can give Monica a lift. The presuppositions contained in the above conversation include 1. That A and B know John and Monica, and 2. That John owns a vehicle most likely a car, and 3. That Monica doesn't currently own a vehicle. From the example above, it's understood that when a sentence is pronounced apart from the meaning stated by the pronunciation of the sentence, additional meaning are also included, which is not stated by the pronunciation of the sentence. Speech aid. Speech aid is a utterance which is functional unit in communication. The speech aid theory was put forward by two philosophers of language named John Austin and John Searle. According to this theory, every time a speaker utters a sentence, he is trying to do something with those words or in the sentence. By saying something, we do something. Example, a judge who said, "I hereby sentence you to 5 years in prison," is carrying out the act of punishing the defendant. The words expressed by speakers have two kinds of meanings at once, namely propositional meaning or locutionary meaning and illocutionary meaning. The propositional meaning is the literary meaning of the words spoken. To understand this meaning, the listener needs to do the decoding of the words with grammatical knowledge and vocabulary. The illocutionary meaning is the effect that the words uttered by the speaker have to the listener. 5. Speech aid. First, commissive. The speech aid that states that the speakers will do something in the future, such as a promise or a threat. For example, "I will propose to you next month." Next, declarative, namely speech aid that can change circumstance. For example, "I hereby declare you pass." This word change a person's status from an immature to a past state. Next, directive. The speech aid that serves as the listener to do something like the suggestion, request, and comments. For example, "Have a seat." Expressive. The speech aid used by the speaker to express feelings and attitudes towards something. Student example is very beautiful. Next, representative. Representative, which describes the state of speech act or events such as reports, demands, and statements. For example, the final semester examination starts at 7.
Okay, from the description above, it appears that the speech act is a function of language, which is the purpose of using language, such as to praise, apologize, give suggestions, and invite. These functions cannot be determined only from the grammatical form, but also from the context in which the language is used. For the example, declarative sentences that are traditionally used to make statements can be used to express requests or orders. Therefore, in the theory of a speech act, there is a term known as an indirect speech act, which is a speech act that is conveyed indirectly. Compare this to utterance a guest makes to his house. For the example, sorry madam, the glass leak. Or, Mom, I'm thirsty. Next, conversational implicator. They generate inferences beyond the semantic content of the sentences uttered. Such inferences are by definition conversational implicators, where the term implicator is intended to contrast with a term like logical implication, entailment, and logical consequence, which are generally used to refer to inferences that are derived solely from logical and semantic content. For implicators are not semantic inference, but rather inference based on both the content of what has been said and some specific assumption about the cooperative nature of ordinary verbal interaction. The term implicator is used to describe what a speaker might mean, suggest, or mean, which is different from what the speaker actually said. And conversational implicator is a deviation from the semantic load of sentence. Understanding the implicator of conversation cannot be separated from the cooperative principle put forward by Grace, Brown, and Yule. The general principle of cooperative reads, give your contribution to the conversation as needed at the stage where it occurs by the objectives received or the direction of exchange of conversations that you are involved in. This general principle can be reflected from several maxims. That is, first, maxim of quantity. Give your information as informatively as needed, according to the current conversation. Don't provide more informative information than necessary. Second, maxim of quality. Don't say what you believe is not true. Don't say something if you don't have evidence about it. And the third is relationship maxim. Speak up that is relevant. And the last is means maxim. State clearly avoid vague expressions, avoid words that have multiple meanings, be brief, don't be verbose, and speak regularly. The denial of the above maxim results in the birth of additional meanings to the literal meaning of the utterance. The additional meaning is the implicator of the conversation. Consider the following example conversation between A and B. A. I am out of petrol. B. There is a garage around the corner. From the above conversation, it appears that B violates the maxims of the relationship. Speak relevant. The implication which comes from the assumption that B adheres to the principle of cooperation is, first, that there is a gas station around the corner. Second, that the gas station is still open and selling gasoline. And the last is that behind the street corner, an equation is not long distance. Conclusion. Pragmatics are the rules of language use. namely the choice of language form and determining its meaning in relation to the speaker's intent in accordance with the context and circumstance. This pragmatics here also includes why someone can say thanks to peers but not to teachers or parents. Pragmatics also have a sort of study that is the philosophy of language, sociolinguistics, anthropology, and linguistics. Especially discourse analysis and theories have they exist. Then pragmatics also refers to the study of language use based on context, field of study relating to it, which was then commonly called pragmatic study areas they exist, presumption, the speech act, and conversational implicature. Pragmatics is also used to communicate so that in communicate the speakers is required to master the study of cross cultural. This is done in order to establish the principles of cooperation and courtesy in the communication process so that the communication objectives can be achieved effectively and avoid misunderstanding between speakers and interlocutors. Okay, maybe enough from us. Thanks for your attention and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.